Hey guys, welcome to 6 Minutes for Monday, August 8th. I'm Jason Fulmore, SC Russell, and today we are releasing Fat and Scrappy's, yes, Lucas DeSilva's top 10 teams preseason. We're talking really early for 7A, and I'm obviously recording this before that point in time, before August 8th, so nothing really to other things in the news, that sort of thing. The only thing I would say is make sure you tune in all week long because 7A is today, and we'll break down the other classifications, 6A, 5A, 4A, the girls, everybody throughout the week. And yeah, so check back and see who Lucas has as his top 10 as we begin looking forward to the 2022-2023 season. Just to give you a heads up, there's a short section on how he did his methods, how he came up with a point system for each of the teams, and then a longer section of the actual top 10. So I hope you enjoy it. Please feel free to reach out. Let us know what Lucas got right and where you think he got it wrong. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to 6 Minutes. I'm Jason Fulmore, SC Russell, and today here with Fat and Scrappy's Lucas DeSilva.
Welcome.
Welcome
to my home, actually. So welcome to your, welcome to my home.
We are breaking down the rankings, really early rankings.
Really early. Kind of calling my shot really early here, but.
All right. So these will be the team rankings, and what we'll do is we'll go with after this video. I'll add a different video talking about specific classifications. But we're opening this classification, or opening this video, and opening all the videos with a general methods, right?
Explanation.
How in the world, because Lucas doesn't do duels and tournament rankings. He does one ranking. And for some reason, he's using decimal points. I mean, I didn't know Lucas knew decimal points.
I don't. You ask my math teachers. I don't. I'm not very prolific with them. But so what's funny about this is this is great storytelling because the viewer knows what video they're watching. We don't. They could be watching 3A for all we know. But
that's right. They could be.
Anyway, so basically, the way I do this is I look at a team we'll look at a case randomly, Buford. I'll give them a score for duels out of 5 with decimal points. And I'll give them a score out of 5 for individual with decimal points based on their performances, their lineup, and as the season goes on, these scores will fluctuate. So this is going to be a fluid list. This is currently going into the season with what we know. 5 points is the maximum for duels, 5 points the maximum for individual. Put those two together, you get their power score out of 10.
Okay.
And then it's just pretty simple, highest score in 1, so on and so forth.
Now, can two teams, say Camden and Buford, both get a 4.9?
Yes.
Both get a 4.8 or whatever the case is?
So the way I think it is when it comes to duels...
So it's not like you get a certain points for first and second and third.
No. Like if you're in duels and you're beating most teams by 45, 50, if you're just dominating teams, you're going to get a 5. There could be 3 or 4 teams. In fact, I think I have 4 teams in my list across the 7 classes that got a 5 in duels. I think there's 4 of them, if I remember correctly. So it just kind of depends on... It's relativity mainly based on how they do against, their competition.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna now jump into one of the classifications. Hope you enjoy it. And
which one is it?
Yeah. All right, guys. So you have tuned in for the Georgia 7A very early team rankings by Fat and Scrappy's Lucas DeSilva.
Late summer rankings, I guess, is what we'll call them for 7A. And if you
beginning of the school year,
right? We're in that range, I guess.
We're in that range. All right. So we're doing 7A for this one, and this is probably the classification that people want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with Buford coming up, Camden still sitting there, right? There's a lot of conversation.
I think it's fair to say that 7A in the most recent reclassification has become a bloodbath. There are certain regions that we're going to touch on that there are regions where, in my opinion, you're going to have state placer caliber guys not make it to the state meet. 7A has very quickly in the reclassification become, in my opinion, the toughest class in the state.
Yeah.
Which 7A wasn't. There was a time where 5, 4, 6 was super deep, and now it's like 7 is the class now.
So how hard was it for you? Was 7A the most difficult?
7A was the most interesting, and what's funny is when we end up talking about my rankings, when it comes to differential of points in the rankings, they were the closest. I think the average difference in points was like 0.4.5 between teams, because there's only a few gaps where there's a few points separating teams.
All right, so let's jump down to the bottom 10 of the 7A.
Bottom 5 of the top 10.
Bottom 5 of the top 10. Sorry, thank you so much. And what we have here, as you can see from the graphic, number 10, Richmond Hill. Number 9, West Forsyth. Number 8, Colquitt County. Number 7, Archer. And number 6, Mill Creek. These are your bottom 5 of the top 10. So talk to me a little bit about how they kind of fell out and what you thought of.
So as I went through it, one of the most interesting teams I think in 7A is at the top of that bottom 5, and that's Mill Creek. There's a lot of talk. We now know the Mills boys at Mill Creek. That played into my rankings a little bit. We know the bag you get out of Monte Mills. You know what you get out of him. Antonio is unproven at the high school level. He did win the grappler. Fair enough. Excuse me. I commentated that match. So we've yet to see him in regular season high school competition.
Agreed.
But you still have Bambinelli and the crew. And they were good last year. They were region champions. But now they're in a region with Buford. So now that region has become very interesting to watch. Then you look below them. You have Archer and Colquitt. That 0.2 separates them at 7 and 8. West Forsyth came in with 5.3, and then Richmond Hill at 5. It's this, and then below them, if I remember correctly, you had 2 teams at 4.9. Like 7A, that bottom half of that top 10 is so tight, and I think the first 2 weeks of competition, we could see vast changes in that bottom 5 for sure.
Is there a team that fell outside the top 10 that you think is right there, or is there a separation between Richmond Hill and the team below them?
If I had to put a finger on one team, and I partially despise saying this, it would be Mountain View. Oh, yeah, look, everybody knows, so I don't even have to go into it. If you don't know, Collins Hill
there
graduate.
Is bias in Fat and Scrappy's rankings.
Oh, for sure. No. There's only one team and one team only. That's what Mountain View. That is the only place where bias lies. But
Camden.
No, I ranked them. What are you kidding me?
I know, but you still have a bias.
I don't like them per se. Well, actually, let me rephrase. I don't like that they win all the time, but I ranked them as fairly as I could, and I did the same thing with Mountain View. They ended up with a 4.9, mainly because there's going to be a lot of turnover in that team. No Hannibal. You still have Gassman and Bobliss. You still have the crew coaching. So
no doubt. And they're going to reload. They're going to bring their kids in and be competitive.
They seemingly find a way every year that they do a mini Camden in a sense that every year they drop a lot and we think, okay, they're gone away, and they still come with 14 guys ready to compete.
Right.
Maybe not in the same caliber as Camden on the average, as Camden is reigning, defending, I believe, 7 time in a row state champions, 6, some number in that range.
Yeah, they have a few rings.
Yeah, a couple. Don't worry. Just whenever you see Mr. Stewart, just count the ones on his hand because he wears all of them every weekend. Neither here nor there. Love you, Stu, but yeah. It would be Mountain View for me. That was just outside.
All right, so let's now jump to the top 5, and coming in at number 5 is Lowndes.
The Lowndes Vikings.
So what is it about Lowndes that puts them number 5, and what did you see from that team?
They're a super talented team. Of course, you still have the McCullough clan of children, but as well, even beyond them, you still have uppers and lowers, and they're really solid and well put together, well coached, well disciplined. They have the intangibles of a really good team, and in most years, in most classifications, they would be a clear number 1 or number 2. But you look in a classification or in a region that has Camden County, Lowndes, Valdosta, Colquitt, Richmond Hill. That region is a bloodbath. And it is going to be ridiculous to try to get out of that region.
Right, both as a team and as an individual.
Oh my God, as a team, someone's going to get left out of duels that you can make a case that they have 5 top 5. You can make a case that they should have 5 teams in the top 5 or top 10. And I won't call you crazy for saying that as a region. And Lowndes would normally be a very secure second. But you look 1.9 points below them in 8th is Colquitt, and then a little bit further down, let's see, you have Richmond Hill. That's a very make-upable gap, but Lowndes going into the season, to me, They look like a really good team. They're hungry. They are working their tails off because they do know that, to an extent, they have been little brothered by Camden for the past decade.
Well, so is everybody.
Well, but I'm talking in their region specifically. They've
right.
always had to play second fiddle, and they continuously continue to put out great talent. We just saw Dominic DiTomaso. He's going to UTC.
Yep.
Team Fat and Scrap member, by the way, Dominic DiTomaso. Shout out to the DiTomaso family. But I really like what I see out of Lowndes, and I think that they're on the up and up. They also have a really good group of young guys coming in. I think that they're on the up and up for sure.
All right, so Brookwood now comes in at number 4. And for me, just sitting on the outside, I haven't done my analysis yet, haven't looked at it. That actually looked like it was a little high to me. Yeah. Now, that was just me, especially since Mills isn't there and that sort of thing. But you have them 4. They're solid. There's no doubt about it. What was it about Brookwood that put them 4?
So when I really thought about it and I looked at some of the results in the previous year, I noticed a very odd trend that, yes, Amante Mills is a hammer. We know what we get out of him. He's a killer. He'll be looking for a ring this season, very obviously. But even later in the year where he may not have competed, they still found ways to win. To me, they did that, and I give a lot of credit to Coach Sikora and the staff over there.
Right.
So to me, I look at them more as they are a team that, yes, Amante leaving is going to damage them in those low middleweights, high lightweights, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be I don't think it's going to diminish their capabilities.
Well, and they still have KJ Jett, and they still have
defending state champion KJ Jett.
Right, they still have a ton of kids that are in there. But this is a team that 2 years ago had Landon Moss. He's not there,
no longer
right?
there.
And Monty Mills not there. From what we've heard, it looks like he's not there. So it's kind of interesting, But you're right.
Brookwood is my team that if you want to watch a team where there could be the most fluctuation, you put your underline under the Brookwood Broncos. They could finish with a trophy this year, or they could finish not really in fighting chance of one. I could see either possibility. I just happen to believe in the guys they got, and I do believe in Sikora and the staff. And another thing is, you have Alec from Takedown. He's coaching their youth club along with Ryan Milhoff, the USA club for Broncos Wrestling Club. I think that that's a big piece of it, and I think, again, it's development, and I think that is a great piece of them, is that they develop really well.
All right, your number 3 team, I think you and I are both in agreement. North Paulding, boy, trended up last year.
Made me look like a genius.
Well, and that's hard to do, to be honest, right? But, they're a top 3 team. They're one of the best teams in the state, in my opinion.
I think
we'll get to the pound for pound, and I don't know if you have them down there or not, but I think they're fantastic.
They are in a 3-way tie for spot number blank in the pound for pound. I'm not going to give away the answer, but North Paulding coming in at an 8.3, and this is not your father's North Paulding. This is not Bradley Biting. This is not Kyle Klein. This is a new, but I would argue, more well-rounded, more aggressive and hungry wolf pack, and I love what we see out of them. They are, if they were in any other classification, in my opinion, they would be a top 2 team very easily. The problem is,
and hunting for the title.
Easily in title hunt, and I don't want to necessarily rule them out entirely, because dark horses and upsets and Cinderella stories are a thing, but when we look outside looking in, they are a little bit behind the top 2 in the class. But that's not a diss to them because of who the top 2 are.
Right.
That is, if anything, a chip on their shoulder as they go into the season, because they return everybody, and they will be ready to go to war. And I am fully behind the Wolfpack here. I think that they are an incredible team, as you said, trending upward. I think this is just the beginning for them. I'll call it now. They leave Macon in February with 2 trophies. They end the season with 2 trophies. I don't know what places, but they will have 2 trophies come the end of February.
And now Lucas's bias might come into play, because at number 2 in 7A,
it is
Camden.
It is the defending 7A champions in Camden County. And before the tomatoes and the peaches begin to get thrown at me, please allow me to explain. Camden comes in at a 9.6. Buford came in at a 9.8.
Right.
They are about as close as 2 teams can be in the state to each other outside looking in. Their points were different. I gave Camden a 5 flat in duels, but I gave them a 4.6 in individual. And I gave them that because they win because their unit works together. And they've done this for over a decade. But the thing is this. When you don't have a necessary superstar or a handful of them to give you a guaranteed 28, all it takes is 1, 2, 3 matches to not go your way. And in previous 7A years, there hasn't been the depth for 2, 3, 4 matches to not go your way. This year
is different.
This year, I would argue there is. I mean, I'll remember my senior year, because of the way the section was worked out, we were begging Brookwood to help us. We needed help on that side of the bracket, and we didn't get the help. This year, depending on how the sectionals work out, you're going to get that help, and Camden's going to have to win those matches. Not that they can't, but there's more possibility for it not to happen.
Well, and to be fair, Camden has graduated, just like they always do, a whole host of really tough kids. And, you know, I mean, you've got a lot of really, really, really good freshmen coming in.
Exactly.
But they are freshmen.
They're untested.
Are they going to win a state title? Are they going to take third? Or what?
Yeah, and then Buford came in with 2 4.9s.
Okay.
So they were perfect, but they missed 1 point on each. And it is only because...
So, hang on. So, if you gave Camden a 5.0 and Buford a 4.9 in duels, do you think Camden wins duels?
I think it is very possible, and I think that as a... No, let me make this clear. Let me say this now, because I know what you're trying to walk me into. I'm picking Buford in duels just to pick against Camden, because now I actually have a viable contender. But I could very well see Camden being Buford in duels. I could see it happening, because Buford, in a way, is a Collins Hill my senior year on steroids. They have their 5, 6, 7 hitters, and then they have the rest of their guys that can wrestle. We didn't have the guys that could wrestle on the other side of it. Sorry to the guys who I'm talking about. They have the talent across the board, but the thing is, I've said this time and time again with Camden, I have found reasons to count them out, and they continue to tell me I'm wrong, and they continue to prove to me I'm wrong. So, it's tough for me, but in this single scenario, if we're looking just in a vacuum, I ranked it a 5 to a 4.9, didn't I?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm not picking them, but that's how I ranked it.
All right, so that is your top 10 in 7A according to Fat and Scrappy. Very early in the season. Obviously, we're not even to the season yet. Not finished up with summer yet.
Yeah, not even in the school year yet.
But I wonder what you guys think. Do you agree with him? Do you not? It's okay. I don't agree with him most of the time. But drop it in the comment section. Tell us what you think. And what are we going to try to do this right before the season starts again? And maybe this might change a little bit?
Possibly, yeah. It's going to depend. I mean, if there's absolutely some noise being made, then, yeah, we'll have to. But
I mean, it will be after Grappler and Super 32.
That is true, yeah.
And those things.
Yeah,
so.
Probably right before the season. Yeah, that worked out. We'll do a true preseason. This is a preseason, so we'll do a true
everybody likes to talk about it, right?
I mean...
Especially with the new classifications.
Exactly. Like that's, that's the big story about GHSA this year is the new classes, to me at least. That's the story, is that...
All right.
New classes. So.
All right, so that's your 7A. Let us know what you think. You guys take care. See ya.
Yes, sir.